Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Tuesday, May 22nd, 2024. It's been an honor to be part of this community from all over the world, bringing Torah and music and people together every single morning. It's been beautiful, powerful, sometimes a struggle in the world, but together, friends, we have not just found each other, we've made each other stronger. This is broadcast 1056. Thank you, Penny, as ever, for keeping us on track. This is also day 228 since October 7th. Let's use here so we can say good morning. Arlene and Jonathan, Ashley and Barry, Boker Tov. Ariel, my love, so good to see you. Hope that you are doing well in Jerusalem. Kiss the sky for me, for us all. Barbara, it's good to see you. Hi, Amy. Boker Tov. Blair, welcome, welcome. Avran, I don't know who you are, but I'm so glad you're here. So lovely to see some new people every now and then, just to know that our community continues to be an inviting one, to welcome each other. Everyone welcome. Julianne and Sunday, Barbara and Arlene, Lydia, good morning, friends. Hi, Natalie. Hope you're well. All right, let's take a breath. Let's sing a blessing. We'll learn some Torah. We'll send our hearts to the east so we can sing Hatikva, knowing that we are connected one friend to the next all over the world as part of our larger community. It's good to see you. Hi, Cecile. Hi, Susie. Okay. Ya la 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 la, diddy I la la la, diddy I la 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 la, ay la la la, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam Asher Kiddushanu B'mitzvotav Tzivanu La'asok B'divrei Torah La'asok B'divrei Torah Hafoch ba V'hafoch ba La'asok B'divrei Torah Today I lie, 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 lie. Today I lie, lie, lie. Today I lie, 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 lie. I lie, lie. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for being flexible with your timing as I needed to be flexible with mine. I'm broadcasting from Chicago, where I'm part of a faculty for a beautiful Israel education network called the I Center. We are many, many things, including a fellowship of graduate students from all over the United States, Canada, and Israel, who come together to explore what Israel education means, really focusing on what education means, what it is to be an educator, and also, obviously, in this moment, to give each other comfort, to assemble as a group of loving people who are committed to educating about Israel in the most human of ways. Something I very much cherish. It's a privilege to be here. So thank you for sharing that with me. Last night I had the honor of representing UJA, and Judy was there. So glad to see you here too. In presenting an award on behalf of the JCRC of New York, the inaugural Community Leadership Award to Karen Kasner, who is a profound leader in the JCRC and at UJA and the Jewish Board and countless other places, including the JCPA. And she's a friend. Not only is she all of those things, she also, in her spare time, created a new learning group that has brought together loving, loving people from her friendship circles and from the leadership of UJA. And so I salute her and honor the JCRC. Their gala was last night. It was a profound moment of togetherness. And just before I mention anything about Parshat Behar, this week's Torah portion, I wanted to say that we sat at the Plaza Hotel, really landmark hotel in New York City, a place of incredible history. And we sat as a Jewish community with political leaders all around New York representing many different political orientations, but united in a commitment to the safety and welfare of the Jewish community and of the furthering of the values that we together represent. The alliances that we build with leaders of many different faiths and races and orientations made that evening incredibly special. And if our ancestors could have imagined, which they couldn't have, that we would gather together at such a moment, in such a special place, and on the walls of the plaza, we projected the images of our hostages, our loved ones. Not only did we sing Hatikva, we paid homage and committed ourselves again to the safe return of the hostages and to the State of Israel, to our campus life, which is really under assault, and to each other. It was a moment of strength that I was reeling from, and I'm glad to share with you in this way. You're all present with me as I take my steps on behalf of our community, and that was a moment that really, really rang loudly in my soul. I felt our ancestors watching us, not only taking care of us, but being proud of the way that we lead our community forward. It was profoundly important, and I'm glad to share that with all of you. This week's Parsha, Behar, is incredibly interesting, and I wanted to point to a very, very strange part of it. The beginning of Parshat Behar says, we were standing at the mountain, Behar, at the mountain, and the first rule is about Shemitah. Now, we talked about the idea of Shemitah, rest, before, but the juxtaposition of Sinai, Behar, at the mountain, where this Parsha says, and this is where God spoke to you of the laws of Shemitah, of letting the land lie fallow after 6 years of work, struck the commentators very strangely, and should strike us strangely too, because if you remember the Ten Commandments, and you should, you know that Shemitah isn't one of them. So Rashi, the most famous of all Torah commentators, cites an ancient midrash that says this, "My inyan Shemitah etzel Har Sinai." And if you speak Yiddish, you probably say it faster. "My inyan Shemitah etzel Har Sinai," which the best translation in English is, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Which I've looked up. I hope that it has no negative connotations for any peoples. It seems to me, and Eric Goldstein, our CEO, and I talked about this for a second yesterday, that the origin is that China was actually a very important commodity. Tea was a very important commodity in China, and so that's important there, but why is it important here? Is probably what that means. Shemitah didn't happen at Har Sinai, at Mount Sinai. But the Torah seems to indicate later that it does. Why might that be? So I want to offer an idea, and it might be practically applicable for us, which is this. Shemitah is an important idea, and it doesn't have its explicit origin in Sinai. But Sinai is where God showed God's concern, where the divine showed up and infused history with meaning, said to a beleaguered people, "I'm with you," and said, "This is the way you'll lead a purposeful life." Shemitah tells us that not only is meaning supposed to be our portion, so too is it supposed to be the world's portion. And if something authentically touches the world's welfare and adds value to it, if something helps our hearts and reminds us to be human, it is authentically, or should be authentically, connected to our source, to the revelatory moment where God said, "Anochi," this is me, this is you, and we should be together in the project of perfecting this world. No, Shemitah isn't explicitly mentioned at Mount Sinai, but relationship is. Being fully human is. Being a people who is concerned for each other and for the world at large. That's what happens at Sinai, even if it doesn't say it explicitly. I remember as a child, I spent time in a yeshiva in high school where we got into debates, right? The yeshiva's mentality was that everything, Torah, Mishnah, Talmud, even modern halachic conversation, all of it was explicitly given by God to the Jewish people at Mount Sinai. And I would debate. in those days. I would say, actually, no. No, the Torah was given by God at Mount Sinai, but not the modern conversations. Those are human, and they're different. And the yeshiva would say back to me, one representative at a time, no, it's the same. Well, I've come full circle, actually, and I think they were right. But I want to explain how I mean it. It's all the same. What happened at Sinai was holy. What has happened since is holy. Do I believe that it was explicitly given by God? No. No. Do I believe that we have a divine connection and that in this moment we're called to reaffirm it, especially as we get closer to Shavuot, where we commemorate Revelation itself, where we reenact it by standing at Sinai and learning all night so we can feel God's presence as we get tired, tucking us to sleep? Yes, it's all the same, even though the details are different. Shemitah wasn't explicitly mentioned at Sinai, but the world's welfare was. That's our job. Our job is to take in everything at significant moments and to pour it forward as a value add to the world. My friend Karen Kastner, who I got to honor last night, has been all about that her whole life. UJA certainly is about furthering that message, taking everything that we've inherited and making sure that the work we do is intrinsically connected. May we be blessed, friends. May we be blessed to do that work and to move the world 1 inch closer to how it should be. Even if it wasn't explicitly listed at Sinai, we know that our work, when it's authentic, started there. So, let's continue that work. Let's take a moment, let's take a breath, send our hearts to the east, and sing. Let's sing for our people. Kol hod baleva pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefate mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia od lo avda tikvatenu hatikva bat shnot alpayim להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Bless you, friends. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow. Take care.